Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Temi Talks Live here on the Wavy Baller Hub. This is our Premier League weekend review show. If this is your first time watching with me, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, follow the movement that is the Wavy Baller Hub, and we're gonna have a fun stream here, breaking down everything that happened in the Premier League. Really, we're gonna have a lot of fun. This is a chill stream. I'm trying to mix it up a little bit, not talk too much United because honestly, Manchester United just pisses me off. We're going to discuss them a little bit, but I have a guest with me who's going to help me navigate this whole weekend and everything that all the implications of this weekend. For a long story short, so I met this guy via Sarcasm City TV, owned and ran by our guy Flawless, aka Mr. Take Note. And I think the first time I did a stream with him was like an NBA stream, if I'm not mistaken, on that channel. A shout out to C1 London. Really appreciate it. I'm going to bring in my guy Peter to the show. What's good, bro?
What up? What up? How we doing?
I'm doing good, man. Can't complain too much. Long weekend, really long weekend. A lot of pain for me
It is what it
personally.
is.
A lot of pain for me personally, but I'm glad you're on the show with me, bro. Really appreciate it. This is a good one. I finally have an American guest who knows football an equal level amount as me, which is exciting. I haven't done that yet. So
There
this
you
is
go.
this is a this is a
Yeah,
switch up, guys.
it's hard to find. It's hard to find us, right? Because
Yeah,
the games are early enough in the morning
yeah,
where like you're like, man, I really got to wake up and watch this.
right.
You
But
know, but
if you
nah, it's cool though. It's been good. It was a good weekend.
Yeah, no, I know. We're gonna start right off. We're gonna kick it off with you and your team, Chelsea versus Burnley. I didn't get a chance to watch this game. I watched the highlights back, and obviously, you guys routed Burnley. Not much of a shock, to be quite honest with you. But I think it was what, four second half goals.
Yep, it
Crazy,
was four
absolutely
in like
crazy.
18 minutes, something like that.
Yeah. So how do you? Well, I know you felt good about the game, I guess, but what were your overall thoughts on that game and how it panned out?
To be honest, the first half we can just like rip it up and throw it away. It looked
Yeah.
as bad as I thought it was going to because I'm like at this weird space with Chelsea now this season. Like in the Premier League, I don't expect to see the same like focus and intensity that they bring to like Champions League matches
Yeah.
and like one-off cup matches. So
Interesting.
people are like on the timeline just upset and like it's 7:45 a.m. for me when the halftime whistle blew. I
Uh-huh.
don't feel like rolling over and just being mad on Twitter. It's like, I kind of get it. We're kind of on an island in third place, so it's like,
Right.
yeah, they played like trash. It happens, but we're playing Burnley. We'll probably find a way to win. And no,
Right.
it was good. It's just good to see Reece James back. I'm
Right.
tired of watching 33-year-old Cesar Azpilicueta try his best to play wingback. Like,
Yeah.
and actually enjoy it. Like, I know
Right.
he does his best, but like Reece is just a much better player.
Right.
It's nice to see Havertz finally like putting some goals with his performances recently.
Right.
And hey, I mean, Pulisic, it would have been cool if he could have made his chance last week at Wembley.
Yeah.
He made
Yeah.
one. He made one on Saturday, so like it is what it is. Better late than never, I guess. But no, it was good.
Yeah.
Another clean sheet, and most importantly, nobody got hurt.
No,
So there
exactly.
we go.
No, honestly, that's good. I watched the final, the EFL Cup final last week, and obviously Reese came in. And I don't think they wanted him to come in. It was more of like an emergency type of
Yes,
situation. But
he wasn't supposed to.
it was funny because like the first maybe his first couple touches, you could tell he hadn't played in a
Yep,
little while, right?
yep.
And then he finally got up to speed in the game, and then obviously like he comes back in this game, scores a sick goal. Like he's a right back doing stuff like that, which is absolutely ridiculous. How many goals has he scored this season? It's like 6 or something.
Five in the league. He scored. Because I was actually watching a bunch of highlights this morning. I know he scored one against Norwich. He scored two against Newcastle.
Yeah,
Scored one at Arsenal at the Emirates in August, and one today. So that's five. Yeah, and he's been out
right.
for 2 months.
Yeah, no, he's a beast. I mean, I envy you. I envy you. And when it comes to that right back position, because we have a lot of United have a lot of issues there. So seeing a player who you essentially have for free,
Yeah,
an academy kid coming in and doing that, it's really, really impressive. C1 London says, Reece James, my right back. Are you mad? He sent the cameraman and the Burnley players as well. As these are accurate statements. I want to get your thoughts on. You mentioned Havertz been playing really well. I thought he was amazing in that cup final. Like he was
Yeah.
so good.
Yes.
And I was watching with a friend who, doesn't really, he doesn't understand football the same way we do.
Mhm.
And I'm letting him know, like, dude, what this guy is doing, like the little layoffs, the little like deft touch, like that's extremely impressive. And he got 2 goals, 2 really good goals. What are your thoughts on the Lukaku situation versus Havertz playing in, as a false 9, or Lukaku going, being the target man essentially? He didn't play today either. He didn't play that game either. Just
No,
unused.
yeah, you just unused substitute. Like I'm at the point where we have shown under Thomas Tuchel we can be successful without forcing ourselves to accommodate Lukaku.
Right.
And we're so far behind in the Premier League. I think at some point we're going to see Lukaku because there's really no stakes in the games.
Right.
You look at our upcoming fixture list, we're playing like Norwich and Newcastle. Then after the break, we're playing Brentford.
Right.
So that should be like 3 wins on paper. But like,
Right.
if we want to contend for the Champions League and potentially retain it, we cannot be trying to force feed a Lukaku and be trying to make that work for the sake of it.
Right.
Because it becomes a bit of like a sunken cost thing. Like, yes, I know he's a record signing. Yes, I would like it if he was scoring goals, right? I'd like it if we were playing better with him up top.
Right.
But in the short term, we don't.
Right.
Like we just don't. And it's about winning at the end of the day. So if he has to sit on the bench and come off the bench like he did in the cup final, which to be fair to him, I think he scored a perfectly legitimate goal.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. I don't
know how that was offsides. I don't know how they
so
decided
weird,
that's so
man.
But like
It's
at
so
the same
weird.
time, don't let these criminals up front get away with those missed chances in normal time. Like it is what it is. It happens.
For sure.
So like there is a usage for Lukaku. There will be. It's just he has to be okay with being part of a functioning team. Because at the end of the day, a lot of our players succeeded at this club without him.
Right.
We don't need him as much as I think he wants to be needed.
Right.
And like he just has to understand that. Like, you're a big man. You get 300,000 plus a week. Like I'm sure you'll get over it.
Right. These are fair statements, bro. And I'm interested. Like I want to get your thoughts on the league. You mentioned like essentially it's not happening, right? You're not gonna win the league. But how do you feel about that? Like I'm not saying that like in a derogatory way. I'm saying that like I've seen a lot of Chelsea fans not be too happy about that situation online. I feel like, and this is just me from an outside in perspective, I feel like Chelsea fans complain a lot. There's a lot of good things happening, and for some reason you want to complain like you're me. Like,
it's not,
a
like,
Manchester
it's not
United
actually
fan.
that bad. Our situation is not that bad. Like truthfully, right? Contending for the league at the beginning of the season, that was an objective of mine. But when you look at Chelsea the previous 4 seasons, we averaged like 68 points a season.
Right.
We're on average 22 points off the league title.
Right.
Like, over those 4 seasons.
Right.
Like we haven't been contending for a period of 4 years.
Right.
And we scraped top 4 on the last day of the season last season because Gareth Bale decided to make his last meaningful contribution to football and score a hat-trick to get us into the Champions League. So, thank you, Gareth Bale. But like, it's not like we were doing fantastic on the whole of last season, right?
Right.
The bridge is very large. And we can do it in one-off scenarios. And to be fair, we were in the league title race until December, right?
No, fair, yeah.
We played that game against Juve. We sacrificed Chilwell's ACL. We won 4-0. But from then I was like, now we have to play Marcus Alonso. We're going to have to figure out something else.
Right.
And like we went through a bit of an injury crisis. We dropped we've only actually lost, I think it's 4 games in all competitions this season.
Yeah.
And we lost 4 games in a penalty shootout.
Right.
And we've played like 44 fixtures or something. Like the thing is, we just draw too much.
Right. Exactly.
We just draw a lot. Like you can't win a title in 2022 with 8 draws.
No, that's fair. I'm
Liverpool
looking at that
lost
right now.
once in 18-19. They drew 7 times and they lost that shit by a point.
Right. It's crazy.
We can't draw. Liverpool and City are not out here drawing. They might lose the odd game.
Yeah.
They're going to win 7-8 in a row. Like that's the consistency you need to run that race with them. It's not how it used to be 7-8 years ago.
Right.
So like we just got to get that out of our system. And it's disappointing, but like I've made my peace with it. Like I'm not going to cry about it every day.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to have more points. So would literally everybody.
Yeah,
that's not a real like complaint. That
right.
Like, that's not unique to us.
Exactly. You're still
So just
competing in
get
the
over it. Like,
Champions League. You still have you got to a cup final and could have. I mean,
we should have won. I don't
should
care
have
what
won
anyone
it.
says. We should have
Should have
won,
won.
but we didn't.
I mean, me and Kendall Rowan talked about this last week. Like, we thought you guys had the better chances. We thought that, even though there was a period where Liverpool were really on you guys, like I think I think you guys had better chances as a whole. But no, it's an interesting one. Burnley obviously are not in a good spot. Not in a good spot at all. They're currently sitting at 18th. They have a game in hand on Leeds, 2 games in hand on Brentford.
Yeah.
But it's not looking great for them in terms of the chances to stay in the league. Do you think they'll be able to hang on, or not hang on, but claw their way out of the relegation zone?
See, the interesting thing about Burnley, right, is prior to their game against Leicester, they had, I think it was 10 Premier League fixtures in a row decided by a single goal.
Yeah,
But they didn't start getting thrashed again until this week.
right.
They're actually like very competitive, and like
No, for sure. I
they
know.
had won like
We
2 in a
drew to
row.
them.
They won like 3 out of 5, and there was plenty of draws in there.
Yeah,
Like, they were picking up points. So like,
right.
yes, we smacked Burnley. Burnley's not. If you like melting it down to pure talent, they're probably 19th or 20th in the
Yeah,
league.
well, for
So like,
sure.
they're going to take heavy defeats every now and then against like big clubs. That's just going to happen.
Right.
Like, I'm looking at Burnley's fixtures, and I don't actually think they're like as dead and buried as people like to pretend. Like,
No, for sure. For
they still have to
sure.
play Watford. They still have to travel to Norwich. They still have to play Everton at home. And if any of you in the comments had just watched Everton at the new
Yeah,
White Hart Lane, like, they're in the
not looking
relegation
good. It's
mode,
not looking
like,
good.
so like it gets into like, who do I trust at that end
Right.
of the table to put
Exactly.
them form together? And
Exactly.
Burnley is probably the first name on the list out of
That
the
I
bottom
trust.
5 that I look at, and I'm like, yes, they'll figure it
They're
out.
just so used to getting out of situations like this. Sean Dyche, I think he's a good manager. He's a kind of old school, traditional British manager, but he's found a way to keep that Burnley team in the league for years. I mean,
Years on like no investment.
yeah, with no money, which is extremely impressive. You have to give people credit for that. Kind of reminds me of a better version of what was Sheffield's manager's named Chris Wilder. He's like a younger version of Chris Wilder, just in terms of his ability to like squeeze the juice out of
Yep.
what he has. Let's get into the comments. Burnley are staying up, in my opinion. I can't lie, Peter. I gave up on Frank Ball. He isn't good enough.
I told you. I told all of you. I told all of you. You do not drop form and start dropping down the table and then hire an inexperienced manager.
Yeah, it
You
doesn't
don't
make
do that.
sense.
It
I
doesn't.
think I
Everton
think it was a like he's it's a weird one. Frank is kind of like a glamour signing, in a way for
yes.
Everton. Like that's what he is. He's a famous Englishman who, has achieved a lot as a player, and he did an okay job at Chelsea. Like, I'll just say okay job. I mean, I'll let you be the judge of what you think about that, but he's not a top manager, and they really put in. I mean, they threw all their eggs in one bag. I mean, we'll see what happens. If you can get them out of this situation and they invest, we'll see. I don't know. I don't want to talk too badly on him. Karen says we've got Tottenham to play on. We've got Tottenham Saturday. Please pray for me. LOL. Karen, yes, we do have Spurs on Saturday, but no Manchester United talk until we get into when we get into what I want to hear. I want to hear Peter's opinion, but Karen, let's talk Premier League football. Just this is a Manchester United focused channel. That's fair, but we're spicing it up a little bit. Have a weekly Premier League show. Hopefully, I can get into it. I can find the time to do a La Liga show as well, because I do watch a lot of La Liga. That ESPN Plus package is.
Yep. Shout out ESPN Plus.
Shout out ESPN Plus. They give us La Liga. They give us Bundesliga. They give us the championship. So yeah, no, I'm definitely going to use that for sure. Let's see. Next one I want to talk about. Let's just get into it. You know what? Let's talk about Manchester City versus Man United. 4-1, absolutely embarrassing game. Very frustrating for me. It just kind of shows where we are again. It's always like we always get these wake-up calls as Manchester United fans. We trick ourselves and we pretend like we're better than we are, even though I have personally said this, that we are extremely overrated. But now I don't even think we're overrated. I think people just know what we are, and that's like even more depressing. What were your thoughts on that game? What are your thoughts on Manchester United? I'm really interested. I like getting objective opinions on this.
So to start with the game, right? Because I went on like a long rant on a Sarcasm City Q&A yesterday about the
Yeah.
current state of Manchester United. To sum
Yeah.
it up, you guys are just not good.
Right.
Like, we can break down why, but like we
Yeah.
need to start with that. Like to start with the game, right? I don't understand. I don't understand why so many established senior players can drop so many horrible individual performances in such an obviously high leverage moment. And I don't understand this because you guys had a week off. You
Right.
knew what time it was basically.
Right.
It was a bit of an underperformance against Watford. Well, I don't
Right.
even want to say it. It was wasteful finishing against Watford, but like the pressure was on, right?
Right.
And just 5 minutes in, Bernardo Silva picks up a ball. You've got Alenga, Wan-Bissaka, and McTominay all over there. Cross still gets played in the box. De Bruyne is there. That's 5 minutes into a derby, right?
Mm-hmm.
You fight your way back into the game. You get a great goal in transition. Great effort from Sancho.
Yeah.
And then from there, like you would figure United would tighten up at the back. And I'm not saying in terms of like structure and tactics. I'm saying in terms of just like basic performances.
Right.
Like,
Right. 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 Right.
Lindelof going to chase the ball. He's never getting anywhere near. You have Maguire dummying a ball that's being saved by his goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And like people are saying, "Oh, you don't play football if you don't like." Guys, I've seen Thiago Silva in that exact same scenario put the ball up for a corner kick. It's not hard.
Yeah. It's
Like
not.
I mean, like it's not the easiest thing in the world, but you are the captain of Manchester United Football Club. Figure it out. Like,
Right.
sorry, people expect a lot from you in Manchester derbies. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and so like there, you're 2-1 down at halftime. In the second half, like
Oh my goodness.
Manchester United just looked like a team that's learning how to learn again.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like all City did was just recycle possession. There was runners dropping off from the front line to overload the midfield spaces and just drive right at Maguire and Lindelof, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was the same pattern over and over. Just recycle the ball. Like you have to go back to the goalkeeper. Then as soon as we can get vertical and you can turn and run, it turns into like transition. It looked like City were in transition every 5 minutes.
Right.
United couldn't get out. But like when you play a team on that technical level, everything has to be knitted together. And when you get your foot on the ball, you need to try and retain the ball.
Right. Right.
Manchester United are not a club that's ready to bridge the gap in one-off scenarios between a Liverpool and a Manchester City. They're just
Exactly.
not.
Exactly.
Like for whatever reason, we can get into a lot, but like short answer, they're not. So like I don't want people to be surprised when United go to Anfield and get nailed to a cross. I don't want people to be surprised. Don't be surprised. The thing that angered me was how surprised people were. Guys, these are two of, if not the two best teams in the world right now in our league, right? And I know this because we've gone up against these teams a lot recently.
Right.
Like I was watching that cup final thinking, this is one of our best performances we had this season, and we might lose still.
Right.
And that's just what it is, right?
Right.
Like, I don't see a United looking at a Liverpool and a City and putting in that level of performance for 90 minutes.
Right.
You could do it in patches. You could do pieces of performance. Like things look nice. There were things I saw that I liked, but so much of it is just they're just not ready.
Yeah.
So when like people walk away from that, they have to face the sobering reality that like you're not as close as you thought you were.
Yeah. Right.
You're not as close as people told you were, and like that sucks.
Right.
And that's disappointing. Like we are not even like look at the league table. We're behind them for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And like I comfortably think Chelsea are a much better team than Manchester United, and we're not like the standard.
Right.
We are behind them, but I was watching. I'm not surprised.
Right. Right.
Look where they are. Look at the performances. Look at the results. Like it is what it is, and like I just don't like how people boiled it down to like a lack of effort and a lack of focus.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot. That's a recurring theme with Manchester United fans. It's always they don't try hard enough. Like these are professionals. They at the end of the day, Roy Keane, people on television will always, overblow it and make it like these players just they're not that good. There's some players who are just not that good. I don't want to name individual players on this Premier League weekend review show. Some of these players are not that good. And we have been, I don't want to say, I think there's segments of the fan base that I think that are brainwashed into thinking that certain players are as good as they are. There's only a few of these players that have achieved anything. Like if we really, really boil it down, Varane has achieved things. Pogba has achieved things.
and they're not really achieved. They've not achieved
Yeah,
them as a collective.
yeah,
They've
they
done it
exactly,
elsewhere. That's the part.
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
if you're Ragnick, right? You're an experienced football manager, right? You've seen like high level shit. You know what it takes to likely like bridge the gap and meet that pet machine, right?
Right.
If you're him, who can you look at in that dressing room and really take into the trenches with you for 90 minutes and feel confident with?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's
And like
there's not
that's
a there's
what
not
I
a
think.
lot.
Like, you don't have a lot of those players. Like, you're up against it. I know I'm gonna get a good performance. Like, the thing with, because Kieran, I hear you saying Chelsea's not that great. What we do have is guys who've all been in the trenches together and succeeded together against opposition at that level. At the end of the day,
Kieran, sorry to cut you off. Everything Keane says is right. If he was in that dress, no, we wouldn't. Roy Keane, no, Roy Keane being in that dressing room doesn't do anything. That doesn't change the score line. It does not. He's not a better manager than Ralph Rangnick. Like, stop. Like, that doesn't change anything. Trust me,
and like,
bro. It
let's
doesn't.
let's be honest. If you swap managers on the touchline on Sunday, you still lose like
You
three
still
one.
lose. Yes.
You still
Yes.
lose.
If you swap Pep and you swap Ralph Rangnick, that's a great way to look at that.
You
You know
still
what?
lose.
If Pep Guardiola was our manager and Ralph was Manchester City's manager, like, their players are so much better than ours that it'd still be the same thing. And this is what people don't understand. Like, I criticize Ollie tremendously for his inability to create a fluid system that created tons and tons of chances. Ralph has. I criticize Ralph for his not playing the man of matches in that game. Not having three midfielders to combat the overloads that you were mentioning earlier. All that stuff. Keane is a winner, and Ralph is not a man. Keane was a winner as a player. This is so, like, again, that's not like didn't he manage Sunderland? What did he do with Sunderland? Nothing. Like, these points are not
To be fair to
helping.
Ralph, he got Leipzig into the Champions League and got to a
Yes.
Champions League semifinal with Schalke
I
12 years
keep on
ago.
I keep on trying to, like, this is what people aren't understanding. Like, he's not Klopp, he's not he's not Pep, he's not he's not Simeone, but he's a decent manager. He's a better manager. He's achieved more than Ole Gunnar
Like,
Solskjaer ever did,
your
right?
guys' gap it was not managerial yesterday. Like, we
Yeah.
need to stop. Like, guys, your players are just not that cold. On
Yeah.
FIFA, they have good cards, and I'm sure
Right.
they're great. And I'm
Right.
sure they're PMP, so you can use them. Like,
Right.
he's probably a cool Ultimate Team player for some silver team, right?
Yeah.
Probably nice. But, like, that's not real football, guys.
No,
It's just
it's
not.
not. It's
And, like,
not.
there were so many poor individual performances from, like, established players, cough, cough, Lindelof, Wan-Bissaka, Harry Maguire, which altogether ironically cost the football club like 180 million pounds.
Mhm.
And how do you overcome that?
Yeah. It's
Like, Kieran,
there's
if you
not there's
want to
nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do there.
put Joaquin in the team where Scott
Yeah.
McTominay was playing, you're still getting passed through, brother.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
still getting passed
Exactly.
through. Still getting overloaded in
So
central
to
area.
your point, maybe I misread what you said, Kieran. But again, if you swap out Scott McTominay and put in Roy Keane, it's the result is still the same. Like, don't forget, like, Roy Keane, great player, all time great Manchester United player. Before he got to Manchester United, he was he got relegated. Like, don't forget that. Like, because the team he was playing with, and people still saw how great he was, right? But the team he was around, I think, what was it? Where did Roy Keane come from? Oh my goodness, it's gonna elude me
Nottingham
right
Forest.
now. Thank you, Nottingham Forest. It just eluded me. That team got relegated, but everyone still knew that guy is amazing. Like, right? So it's not always about one individual player. The collective isn't good enough. I don't want to rant too much about this because we have a lot of games to cover. But guys, like,
And that's okay.
we're not that good, and we have to accept that the Glazers have, not put us in a great position in terms of just the care factor from top to bottom. We're hot. The people in footballing positions that are not football people. It's a whole mess. So let's not dwell on it too much. It's gonna piss me off all over again. I want Peter and I to have a very happy stream. You know what I'm saying?
It's just cool. Like, guys,
yeah.
I had the guy who managed Everton today used to manage my football club. I watched us get tossed 7-1 on aggregate in the Champions League. I walked away from that saying, you know what? We're just not there.
Right.
And I didn't even blame Lampard for that tie, to be fair. I was like, that's Bayern Munich. They're probably going to win this competition. They went on to win it, so that made me feel a little bit better. But, like, sometimes you have, like, measuring stick performances.
And that was
Like, hey,
one. That was one.
your team is not there. It's not where you think it is. And like that's sucks. You just have to accept it. Like I
Exactly.
don't know how else to say it. Like I
Right.
wish you guys would have played better and
Mm,
would have got something from the game to make it an interesting title race, but I knew better than to expect anything from that United team. I said,
exactly.
"Fellas, we're gonna lose 3-0." He's like, "Nah." I was like, "All right." And so when the fourth one, if you don't hear, you must feel. Welcome.
Shout out Flawless, by the way. Shout out Flawless. That's my guy right there. Um, wait, so let's move on, guys. So is Ralph gonna solve it all? Then you both don't even know the history of Manchester United. There's more to that's not what I don't know the history of Manchester United. Oh Lord.
I don't
Come
think
on,
the history of
Karen.
Manchester United helps solve the current issues
Yeah,
though,
it
either.
doesn't. Yeah. It,
I,
It
guys,
doesn't. Let's move on. Let's move on. Kieran, I rock with you. I appreciate you supporting the channel. I definitely know the history of Manchester United, so let's just get that out of the way. But it's much deeper than Roy Keane being in the dressing room. Like it's much deeper than that. Roy Keane came into a team that had endless world class players. I mean, he walked into a team with six other captains that could have six other people, six, seven, eight guys who could have held the captain's armband. There's probably no one realistically no one who should be holding the captain's armband for Manchester United. So anyway, it's a weird one. Let's move on. Leicester versus Leeds. Jesse Marsh's first game in charge, the new American on the block, leading the way for Leeds United. They lost 1-0 to Leicester, but from what it looks like, they had a pretty decent performance. They had a
Rafinha's a criminal.
yeah,
Rafinha's a criminal.
missed an important chance there. I mean, I think so. What were your thoughts on that game? I thought Jesse March, he's a good manager. I mean, for us US fans, I mean, I've been tracking him, just following his career because I like to see, players, managers from the States do well, players from the States do well. I support Christian Pulisic, Josh Sargent at Norway, like anybody who's in that vein, I just like to make sure they're doing well. But yeah, Jesse March, it looks like they had a really good performance. And what do you think? What do you think of the game as a whole?
They should have won. Simplest explanation. They should have won that game. But when you're down at the bottom and you don't take your chances, bad shit happens to you. Like that's just the reality, right?
Right.
I've been doing a lot of Watford content this year. I've been doing Watford watch-alongs every week, so I'm well in tune with what's going on at the bottom of the table. But like
Right.
people will say, "Oh, Leeds going to go down." Guys, if they can replicate that performance over their last 11 fixtures, they'll be fine.
You're right.
They will be fine. The four teams below them are in worse positions than they are. Because
Hmm.
like also with Leeds, they've got players to come back from injury as well.
Right.
You didn't,
Exactly.
you didn't see
Bamford.
Calvin Phillips, you didn't see a Bamford. Like
Right.
there's a way for that team to get stronger, just like with health and time.
Right.
We've got an international break coming up. Hopefully after that they'll have all their guys and they'll sort this out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
like they lost. It's annoying. Like you never like to see your players miss from 4 yards out at 0-0.
Right.
That's always frustrating. But like, hey, it happens. But that was his first game. Like I was impressed. It's a huge difference to like the final days of Bielsa.
Right.
You know,
Yeah. I think I had a soft spot for Bielsa. I think that yes, it was a bit suicidal there at the end in the terms of what he was doing, especially considering the injuries that you just mentioned, right? But I never thought they were going to go down. I never thought they were going to go down. Especially now that Jesse March is in here, it's new fresh blood, new energy, new ideas, whatever the case may be. They're too. I don't want to say they're too talented not to go down, but I think that they have a certain. There's a certain they're a little bit better than that fighting pack, right?
yep, I think
And
they are
that's
too.
I think that's what's going to help them, overall. Like they're just a little bit better in that fighting pack than that fighting pack. Who knows what they're going to do in the summer, with signings. Maybe Jesse gets a player or two that, really helps him out. But that goal, I mean, at the end of the day, that was a really good goal. That, Barnes, I think it was Barnes to Iheanacho back to Barnes, really cool finish.
Mm-hmm.
And Leicester, I mean, Leicester, it looks like they've been in a tough vein. It's been a tough season for them. This is not what they've been used to over the past, 4 years, but
Yeah.
it looks like they're building some momentum back up.
So yeah, I mean, hey, they're putting results together. Performance isn't great, but hey, whatever. Like they're just kind of there like this season. I
Right.
don't know. Like it's disappointing, obviously. Like, but at the end of the day, they won the FA Cup like last season. They probably would have. I mean, if you ask their fans, they probably would have preferred the FA Cup because they've never won it.
Right.
Being so close to Champions League and falling at the final hurdle twice has got to be irritating.
Oh yeah,
You know,
for
but
sure.
hey, like I don't know. I think Brendan Rodgers has done a good job there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Like I don't care what anyone says. Like I'm not one of these. Oh, Brendan Rodgers is a terrible man. No.
Yeah, I think people just love like the overreactions. Like you have to
Yes,
remember, at the end of the day, this is still Leicester.
this is
Like
Leicester City.
don't forget that. Like people like will take extreme success, and then when you regress to the mean, like you're trash. Would I personally want Brendan Rodgers as Manchester United's manager? No, right?
Oh, of
But
course not.
is he a Leicester City caliber, Wolves, Spurs, West Ham, type of manager? 100%. Like no question about it. No question about it. Like
And like I'm looking at the table now. Leicester are one win from ninth. They were in ninth place when Rodgers came in. Like they're kind of about where they you would think they should be pushing for Europe, where like a West Ham are. And like, yeah, I
right,
probably agree with that.
right.
But like they're not that far off of where you would realistically expect them to be.
Hmm.
They're
Yeah,
really not. So like, I
it
find
is
a
what it
lot of
is.
the Rodgers talk like hyperbolic and annoying.
I agree. I agree. I think it is extremely hyperbolic. I think that people just need something to, spew on Twitter and say he's a bad manager, like he's a bottle job and blah blah. Like, come on, like what? Like, I do think that year that we battled them at the last game of the season to get to fight for third. I think if they had won, they would have gotten third. If we had won, like we did win and we got third,
Yeah.
disappointing. But again, like we just had better players than them. We really did. It's not really rocket science, right? I think Rodgers' time in the Prem has to end, in my opinion. I can't lie. Why would his time in the Premier League end?
Where's he gonna go?
Yeah,
Why like if you're a Brendan Rodgers, right? The San Antonio Conte gets sick of his job. Surely, like you would be first in line for a job
for
like a
Spurs. Yeah, 100
like,
percent.
I don't think his time at Leicester might have to, but to say he's gonna go back out abroad, I don't see why. I don't
Yeah,
and like I'm not even sure Leicester necessarily wants to get rid of him.
right. I
Like
don't
I
think
think
so.
Leicester kind of know they're near their ceiling with a Rodgers as
And
manager.
they've also been, people forget, they've been ravaged by injury too. Like no
Yes.
Fofana, no Evans, no James Justin. Ricardo Pereira has been in and out for pretty much most of the season. Vardy's had an issue.
Yeah, he just came back from a hamstring
Harvey
injury, like
Barnes had an issue. Like they were like decimated with injury. Like so it's people are just very hyperbolic when it comes to stuff like that. But it's all good. We move on. Big moment for Leeds and Leicester, or big moment for Leicester. Hopefully they good luck to them, and hopefully they continue moving. Watford versus Arsenal. This is going to be a fun one for me. Arsenal beat Watford 3-2. I can't lie, all of those goals were absolutely insane. Like I will give credit to where it's due. Arsenal are looking really good right now. I know they haven't maybe played a bunch of top level teams over the past probably month or month and a half, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. But I mean, damn, those young guys look good. I gotta admit it. They look really good right now. I don't know what you thought about that game. It was exciting.
I did a watch along for that game,
Okay.
6 AM my time.
Wow.
So, from, like, from a Watford perspective, I don't understand why Roy Hodgson persists with Tom Cleverley in midfield, but at the same time, Watford created enough chances to get something out of that game. Like, Arsenal, yes, their goals were great, but, like, I don't think that was, like, a vintage Arsenal performance.
Mm,
They were there to be got at for long periods of the game, but
okay.
Watford can't get out of their own way, right?
Right.
I actually, on their day, I don't think Watford are that bad, and I don't think people
I
realize that.
I agree.
But
I
like,
agree.
they're
I
just
mean,
not.
we got okay. Just this is how bad our season's been. We accumulated 1 point out of 6 against Watford this
Of
season. So
course, because like people look at Watford like, oh, they're 19th, they're terrible. But like when you look at their players, like, they've got better outlets in terms of forward players than pretty much everyone around them.
Right.
They've got like a functioning midfield. Their defense is just atrocious.
Right.
Their defending is just so bad, and I don't understand. Like it's almost like comical at this point. Like I don't know. Like good for Arsenal, they got their points, take them and run.
Right.
But like it's just one of those things. Like and hey, I mean we'll see. Arsenal have actual fixtures and like they can stop playing every 9 days now. They might have to operate like a real football club. So we'll see. Who knows?
Right. Do you think they're the favorites for top four? Do you think they'll get it?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yes. I think it's Arsenal, then it's Tottenham, and it's you guys because your guys' fixtures are horrendous.
Right.
I just looked at them. And
Yeah.
also like just factoring in like how your club is like momentum, I think is like a thing. Like I know you guys and Spurs play each other this weekend. I think
Right.
like beyond that though, Tottenham have like Brighton and like West Ham
Right.
and like teams around them, kind of, and like teams like beatable teams. So yeah, shout out to Kieran's burner account in the chat. But
It was so rude disrespecting Kieran. Everyone knows Chelsea are trash. I wasn't see this. Listen, let me explain something.
don't talk about the World Champs.
This conversation is all, or this channel, I should say, is all about opinions. I don't have an issue with people having different opinions. I'm just going to share my opinion. You know what I mean? I don't really have an issue with. I don't have an issue with what Kieran said. You know, if he chooses not to come back, I can't force him, right? But I'm gonna share my opinion, right? And he's gonna share his opinion if he's passionate, as long as it's not like disrespectful. Like I think we're all entitled to share our opinions. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't agree with everything Peter says. He doesn't agree with everything I say. And we're gonna respectfully, you know, disagree and move on with our lives. It's not that serious. We like to have fun on this channel. It's not
guys,
never that deep. Never that deep.
If you guys think a difference of opinions is disrespectful, I urge you to go outside and talk to real people.
Yeah, because trust
how,
me,
that's
the business I work in, we have tons of differences of opinion, and you know it is what it is. You have to do it. You have to do it. It's all good.
Like, sorry, I don't think Roy Keane would have helped you on Sunday, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, you know, I don't. It's it is what it is. It really is what it is. Let's move on. Oh well, so Arsenal favorites to get top four. I'm hoping against hope. I've said it multiple times.
You don't like them, I can tell. I don't like them either.
I don't. I really fucking hate Arsenal.
Like, I have no skin in this race.
Like, you don't. You're safe. You're safe. Your third is where you're locked in. Man, it's a weird one for me because they've been so bad, and if they were somehow to finish above us this season, I would literally be so depressed. Like
Arsenal is like
that would be worse. That would be worse. That would be worse than like if Spurs finish above us and Arsenal finish under us. I wouldn't be as mad.
Of course,
if Arsenal finish above us, it's like I know their fan base is just going to just like treat that like a trophy. And
they're already saying they're going to catch us for third place.
Yeah, and you just know how Arsenal fans are. They're just
we're better than Chelsea. I'm like, guys. So
slow down.
I looked into this, right? Because I feel like we've been playing every 4 days for the whole fucking season.
Right.
Turns out we basically have. We played the most fixtures in Europe. We've played like 40. I think Thursday will be our 44th.
It's crazy.
Something like that. Arsenal are only playing 44 fixtures by the end of the season.
Right.
They had 9 days between Wolves and Watford. We played 3 times during that time period. You know, like it's one of those things. And like, look, Arsenal, I think they're going to make it under their like set of unique conditions they have because they've got no Europe. They're out of the domestic cups. They've got no real fixture congestion.
Right.
I saw Arsenal fans complain about having 3 games in 6 days. And we just did that. One of them was a cup final.
Right.
And we have 4 games in 9 days coming up leading into the international break.
Right.
And like one of them's in the Champions League. One of them's also
good thing you have a lot of squad depth. Like you see, like it is a difficult thing, but you guys, your squad depth is really impressive. Like it's especially in that midfield. Like what I would give to have your midfield is like I saw shout out to Miros. I saw Miros complaining about Jorginho on Twitter yesterday.
It's first world problems.
And I was just like, dude. I was like, dude, come on. Like, stop it. Like, stop. Like, you're making me so upset when I see tweets like that. Like, we need to invest in a new DM this summer. I'm like, you know, maybe you do. I can't speak to your club.
I mean, like,
it is a first world problem.
We do, but like, yeah, people do this thing where they complain. People complain about like the wrong areas of our team. Like, we were one injury away from playing Marcus Alonso, and like that was the problem in the summer.
Right.
Club got linked to Hakimi, and our fans said no. So I was like, okay, I'll meet you all in hell in the middle of the season when we're watching Marcus Alonso play. And then
Right.
we watched him play 4 games, like, oh, he's terrible. I'm like, oh man, if only we could have done something about this. If only,
Right.
right? But people look at the field and decide, yep, they're terrible. And I'm like, no, they're not
No.
terrible. You just don't
No.
like them. Like, sorry, they're not 6'2" and putting crunching tackles, but like, no,
Right.
they're not terrible.
Right. Exactly. Villa versus Southampton, 4-0 waxing. Southampton's so funny to me. Like they always
My favorite team.
they always get washed. Like there's like moments where you just know they're gonna get a 6-1, 7-1.
They were on
Like
such a good run too, and they just got worked.
I just don't get it. Like it always happens to them. It's just confusing to me.
You know what I think it is? I think with how they play and how high energy it is, and how physically demanding it is to play like that,
Yeah.
and like relative to the talent they have and experience they have,
Yeah.
I think just some days they're just going to get washed.
Yeah.
Like if you catch them on the wrong day, you could put 5 on them. But
Exactly.
like, if you catch them on like one of their good days, like they drew City twice, but they were never in this game. But I watched them play at the Etihad when they were in like 18th place, and I was like, this doesn't make sense.
Right.
I was like, this is such a confusing team. Like,
Yeah.
it's just weird. Like with the whole like gegenpressing kind of thing, like it's kind of boom or bust when you're dealing with. Because let's be honest, Southampton have like a championship level squad.
Yeah, it's
They
not
really
great.
do.
It's not great.
It's not even really like good, man. Like Ward-Prowse and Romeu are cool. Salasu's a solid center back. You're not taking Bednarek at any other mid-table.
No.
You're not taking Jack Stevens.
No,
Their
you're
best
not.
striker is a 19-year-old on loan from Chelsea.
Right.
Like, Che Adams, I love him. I love what he did in the championship, but he's not prolific.
He's not.
Adam Armstrong hasn't hit the ground running.
Nope.
Like Mohamed El Yunusi, no disrespect, but who are you?
Yeah.
I don't even know who you are, and you're over here like contributing, right? Like Hasenhutl's making the best out of what he has. But
I was gonna say, I think the Hasenhutl effect. It's like sometimes when a team does, well for their level, sometimes you feel like they're almost you almost expect more from them because of the way they perform on, like they outperform themselves all the time. So then when they outperform themselves all the time, you're thinking, okay, this is what you should be doing. It's a weird one. It's a weird one, man. Thank you, Eddie, so much for that comment. Leave a like, guys. Yes, make sure to hit the like button, guys. Make sure to follow Peter on Twitter. His information is in the description, so please support him and hit that like button. Also follow Peter on Twitter. But it's a weird one. Villa, I mean, those are some good. That first Ollie Watkins goal, man, that was something. I mean, Jack Stevens is a very bad center back. Let me not say that. He's not a. I don't want to disrespect.
He's not a Premier League center.
He's not a Premier League center back. Exactly.
He's just not. Which is
fine. That being said, that's still an impressive little turn by Ollie Watkins.
The goal was fantastic.
Great goal.
Villa are like the inverse Southampton. They have all this talent, but why are you not above Southampton? Like, that doesn't.
That is. You know what? How long has Stevie G been there?
Long enough. They just went on a really bad run too, and no one said anything.
Yeah, of course the media is never going to say anything bad about Stevie G. It's not happening.
Of course not. But yeah, Villa are below Southampton in the table, guys, which is
wild.
Is insane.
It should be unacceptable.
Like, I'm sorry. Like, you had Danny Ings, you have Ollie Watkins, you have Coutinho, you have Buendia, you've got Jacob Ramsey, you've got McGinn, you've got Douglas.
Those are all good players.
They're all
they would all start in Southampton's side.
Yes. Like they took Southampton's 20-goal striker from last season, and now they're below them. It doesn't make any sense.
That's crazy. I didn't even think about it that way, man. That's crazy.
So people are like, how did Villa beat Southampton? Like, guys, look at Southampton's team. Who are these guys?
Yeah, come on now.
Like, I respect them. They got to an FA Cup quarterfinal, and they're 9th in the Premier League. That deserves praise.
It's impressive.
Right? But like to act like you cannot just roll the Southampton team over every once in a while, like come on, guys.
Yeah,
that's doable. What happens. Happens in the Premier League. Welcome to being a mid-table club. Sometimes you have it some days and you don't other days.
Exactly. Newcastle versus Brighton, another big win for Newcastle. They are pretty much safe. I mean, I can't see them. They're 100% safe. I was speaking with Kendall last week. I told her literally when they signed Eddie Howe, I knew they were going to be safe. Like he's probably the best young English manager. Like out of all this crop of Lampard, Stevie G,
Mhm.
Potter. Potter's up there too. I don't want to disrespect Graham Potter, but what Eddie Howe did at Bournemouth is so underrated because it was Bournemouth and people don't really think about it. Like, he's a really, really good manager. Like, yes, they have made signings, but a lot of those signings haven't been like the major contributors so far. You know what I mean? It's still a lot of the old heads, i.e., Joel Linton, Ryan Fraser, who we had before. I don't think has Chris Wood even scored a goal yet. He's
Nope.
contributed, but he hasn't scored a goal.
I'm not gonna punish him for
Right,
those signings, like, contributing either. Like, that's
right,
not, like, you see so many times, like, people oversimplify it and say they just spent their way out of relegation, but, like, he's put the guys in the short term.
right,
The performances have improved as well. Like, even before they were picking up wins, they were playing better. They were
right,
just getting let down because you had absolute bums playing that shouldn't have been playing, right?
right, right.
And, like, to be fair to Eddie Howe, he's had St. Maximin available for a period of time. He's had Callum Wilson unavailable, right?
Mm-hmm,
So he's still mad at, like, they've got 13 points in their last 5
mm-hmm.
to take them to 28 in the season. So yeah, like, they've kind of avoided the relegation dogfight way earlier than we thought they ever, like, would get out of that, you know? So,
Right,
like,
right.
credit to them, another win.
Yeah,
As for Brighton, they've lost 4 in a row, but again, it's kind of the Southampton point. What do you expect
yeah.
sometimes?
They lost Dan Burn, one of their best center backs, if not their best center back. Very versatile too. Dan Burn's a good player. It's weird. Like, I always say, he's like I call Dan Burn like a lightweight Daily Blind. That's
Yeah,
kind of what I compare him to. He like has really good feet for like a guy who's like,
6, 7.
yeah, like it's a weird dynamic. But yeah, you know, Brighton's lost a few players, but again, it's Brighton. Like, you have to, like, they're gonna go through dips. I remember when they boo- they
They booed
booed
Grant Potter.
yeah, they booed Graham Potter, and he's literally just like, you guys remember we're Brighton, right? Like,
Pretty
like,
much, he's like, "What do you expect?" But,
yeah,
like, he's right.
yeah, no,
They
100%.
lost they lost Ben White over the summer. They lost Dan Burn in the January.
Yeah,
You like, you have I
you're
mean, you
back to
added
playing Duncan
Cucurella,
Duffy,
right? You added Cucurella, you added some random African guys who sit on the bench who don't really play that much.
right?
Like, you still have Welbeck and Mope as a strike force, like, and to be fair to Mope, he's having a good season, but you're
Yeah,
still 12th. That's how it works. Like,
exactly.
if you would've told me Brighton finished around 10th at the beginning of the season, I said, "Yeah,
That's a
probably."
good season.
That's about as much as you can expect. Like,
Yeah,
eventually, you have to invest to seriously push upwards in this league.
exactly. And they're just not doing that. I don't think they have I don't know what their ownership situation is, but I imagine the buying power is very, very weak.
I feel like
Um,
they're just cool with being there, though,
yeah, no, of
which
course.
if they're cool with
Of
it, I'm
course.
cool with it because they entertain me.
Yeah, no,
So, like,
I love watching Brighton play, man. They're so much fun to watch. Like, Graham Potter has created a system there that is extremely attractive, extremely watchable, extremely fun. So,
mhm,
shout out to him for that. You gotta give credit to where credit is due. Like, it's not that easy. It's really not that easy. But
yep.
let's move on. I don't want to hold you up for too long. I want to make sure we get in under an hour. Guys, make sure to hit the like button for me. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Follow Peter on Twitter. Liverpool versus West Ham. 1-0. Liverpool charges forward. It's a weird one, man. Like, being a Manchester.
Lanzini, Lanzini, you have blood on your hands. I
Yeah,
want to
I,
speak to
I
you.
I didn't watch all of the highlights. I saw the goal. So I don't know I don't know.
The goal was whatever, but Lanzini, the second half, right?
Mm,
There's a point where the ball gets played through to him. He chests it down. He's 8 yards in front of goal. It's him and Allison eye to eye, and he just blazes it over.
mm.
Not to mention the Fornals chip that got cleared off the goal line
I
by
saw
Trent.
that. I saw that. That was
Yeah.
great. That was just great by Trent.
Lanzini, you have blood on your hands, I swear. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I saw that. I was like, Liverpool are doing this thing where they give up big chances and get away with it. Like, the
yeah.
thing is, people just miss the target against them. And
It's
I feel like it
weird.
happens with them more than anyone. Where, like,
Yeah,
you're at Anfield, and I don't know if they get shook, but, like, you just blaze it over. And I'm just like, oh my god.
right.
But no, hey, West Ham played well. But hey, Liverpool, they're in a title race for a reason. They got the points, they keep it rolling.
Yeah, it's torture seeing City and Liverpool at the top. It's
The
absolute
two biggest
torture.
rivals, the best clubs in the world, huh?
Yeah, it's It's literal. My whole 20s has been a nightmare in terms of football, like an absolute nightmare. Like there's just nothing good that's happened in my
Hey, it's
20s.
all right. We'll see him in the Champions League. We'll try to do the work.
Yeah. Please, please do. Please do. Um oh my God. Oh my God. Wolves versus Palace. Big win for Crystal Palace. I like Crystal Palace, man.
I
Again,
love
I,
Patrick
I
Vieira.
I love Patrick Vieira as a manager, and as a player. Honestly, he was a great player too. Shout out to him. But as a manager, bro, he's doing great. And Conor Gallagher, I keep on saying this. He is so good. He is so good, and he's a Chelsea player. What are you going to do with him?
Um, what are you asking? What's realistically going to happen?
What's realistically going to happen with Conor
Oh, he'll
Gallagher?
probably get put in the squad somewhere.
You
I
think
don't
so?
think he can play in the pivot in midfield, but in
No.
one of those advanced positions,
Right. He should
yeah,
he should be playing as a 10 or a
should be
wide.
playing where Mason Mount plays.
Interesting.
They're
Interesting.
like the same player, kind of. Watch
Off
him
of the
play.
off of the right, you know.
They're kind of like the same player, but like I get more vertical passing with Gallagher
Yeah,
than I
I,
do
I
with Mount,
think I think Gallagher's more. I don't want to say less of a workhorse, but he is. He's
which
just
is fine.
yeah on the ball though. He's on the ball. He is ridiculous. I
Yep.
remember last season when he played for West Brom, and we barely beat West Brom. It was a 1-0. We scored in the Bruno scored in the 90th minute, ugly goal, and I was like, I didn't know who Conor Gallagher was. And I'm
Mhm.
like, who is that? Like, I literally, I said it on All for United. I'm like, who is that? Who is that kid? Like, he is absolutely unreal. Like, I'm like, this kid is ridiculous. And then the reverse fixture, I'm pretty sure he played in the reverse fixture. And I thought the same time, I'm like, yo, this kid he's the truth. And I still didn't know he was a Chelsea player until the summer. And I'm like, oh, so he's like a Chelsea Academy kid. This is like depressing. Like there's no chance of us getting him. Like,
We got sleeper cells all over, but hey, if you got 60 mil, you can have them.
oh my goodness. I would honestly do it. Honestly, I'm not joking. I think I'd pay 60 million for
The
Conor
thing
Gallagher.
is, like for me, Mason Mount's not going anywhere. Like
Right.
I'm not gonna sell Mason Mount. So like I don't see Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount functioning in the same team long term,
No.
like for large periods at a time. Like I just don't see that happening. Like those two as like eights in a midfield is what everybody's been crying for amongst like Chelsea Twitter. And I'm
Wait,
like,
wait, wait,
guys,
wait. Who?
so like
Gallagher and Mount?
Mount and Gallagher as number eights in a midfield three. I'm like, guys, this is not FIFA. We cannot show up to the Bernabeu in 2024 with Mount and Gallagher as my eights
Oh my
and like a Declan
goodness.
Rice as my holding player. Like
That's
that
not
is
that's
very
not
Brexit. That's not
yeah.
going to get us anywhere.
That I can't like when I start seeing stuff like that on Twitter, I'm literally just like, what do you guys like?
What are we looking at?
What do you think? Like, like if you like, what do you think when you say things like that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It
It's
doesn't make any
because
sense.
it's because they're all like fan favorites, which is fine. I love Gallagher. I respect what he's done, and he's going to have a lengthy Premier League career, whether it's at us or someone else. If someone wants to buy him, just give us the money. Like we produce eights every couple of years. There will be another Conor Gallagher,
Mm,
just like Conor Gallagher was another version of Mason Mount, and
right,
before that was Loftus Cheek. Like there will be more eights that we can
right,
use.
right.
Trust me. Like our
Interesting.
problem is producing like attacking players. So when
Right.
I look at like a Broya at Southampton, I'm like, I would rather get him into the team and him into the squad than a Gallagher.
Interesting.
Like,
Interesting.
but hey, I think Gallagher's going to get his chance realistically. But as for Palace, everyone in this summer acted like that was a horrible job to take. I remember the discourse being Frank Lampard, don't take the Palace job because they're going to get relegated, right?
Yeah. So dumb.
Which is disingenuous, right? But like, you look at the signings they made. You bring in Gallagher on loan. You bring in an Elise, right? You bring in an Edward from Celtic,
So
right?
to
You bring in a Gahey, who's another former Chelsea player. So shout out to him. Played every Premier League minute this season.
decent
You bring
player.
in an Anderson from Fulham. Like you've got a new spine for your team.
Right.
They're still a few signings away from really pushing up the table. Like they need a long-term right back. You're
Right.
probably going to need another center mid next season. But like when I watch Palace play, factoring in what they were like under Hodgson,
Mm-hmm.
they were like near the bottom in terms of just every creative metric you could think
Right.
of.
Right.
To try and overhaul a style of play, right? To rip it down and start again and to maintain competitiveness in the short term and get the results,
Is
I
impressive.
think is very impressive. And also, like, Vieira is the only black manager we have. right now.
That's actually crazy to think about.
He's the only one. So, like, if he doesn't work, who knows the
What
next
happens?
time one of ours gets a shot, right? So, like,
Right.
I just want this to work. And, like, to be clear, I feel no type of way about Palace outside of Vieira. Like, if Vieira wasn't there, I wouldn't care.
Right.
But, like, I need that to go well, and
So we
it's
can
so
have
refreshing.
more representation. Like when I see
Yeah,
like it's so funny. Like people talk about like, and the black manager issue is a really sad one if you really think about it. Like players like Frank Lampard, you know, um, players like Frank Lampard, players like Stevie G just got the job. Get made Wayne Rooney, get major jobs early on. If you look at there was a lot of great black. Sol Campbell was in management.
yep,
I think they had Sol Campbell like in like League Two, just like just rotting away. I remember the conversation of Danny Rose saying like I would never get into management because there's no pathway for me to be successful. So it's a conversation that they take the knee, they take the knee every week and say no to racism, but you look around and we don't see anybody who looks like us. It's pretty wild. C1 London says Diego Ferreira, I love what he's doing. Okay, let's I think we have one more match to discuss. So let's just fast track. It's Norwich versus
Norwich Brentford.
yeah, I didn't get to watch that. I didn't get to watch the highlights. So just what happened?
I
What
did.
happened?
Basically, Norwich tried their best. They're not very good.
Yeah.
Brentford, solid performance. It was nice to see Ericsson playing again.
Okay.
Tony back amongst the goals. And with that win, Brentford badly needed that win, by the way, because they were trending in the wrong direction.
Yeah. Big time.
So that gives them a bit of breathing space from this inevitable scrap at the bottom that's about to ensue.
Right.
So
Interesting.
now, because Brentford lost their home fixture against Norwich.
Mhm.
If you remember, that was Daniel Farke's
Yeah. I do remember that.
Yeah, they won that, and then and then he just left. So I was
Yeah.
like, "What?"
So
But
weird.
now, so big up to Brentford. Yeah, they
Yeah.
were on a bad run, and they've got some decent. Like we have Brentford Burnley on Saturday,
Mm.
so that'll be
Yay.
interesting. But yeah, no, big up to them.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, guys, it's pretty much it. It was a fun one. Interesting stuff. The table is this is the best part about the Premier League is the table is just so volatile. It's so volatile, and there's very few sports that can give you that level of volatility and excitement in
Mhm.
all phases of the top, the middle, the bottom. Like this is why I watch Premier League. I'm a huge NBA fan. I'm a huge NFL fan. Um, but this it's always it's a little bit different in terms of just the volatility factor and what like that Brentford Burnley game is huge. It's a
Yep.
huge game. It's a huge game. Like where like when will the Wizards versus freaking like uh name me a bad team in the East ever be an important game? Like it's just not anymore.
Wizards versus the Pacers. I think the
Right. It's
Pacers
just
won
yeah,
today.
we played that. I think that happened yesterday and we won. Like that's never going to be an important game. And that's just it's a weird one. But anyway, I digress, guys. Thank you for hopping on with me, Peter. Hopefully I can get you on again soon, bro. Really appreciate you showing love and support. Make sure to follow Peter on Twitter. His information's in the description. He's on Sarcasm City TV as well. I'm as a
Yes.
regular and many other different platforms. So make sure to show him some love, guys. It's been real. I appreciate you guys for hopping on. And we'll talk to y'all very, very shortly. Okay, deuces.